On the Eve of the Final Bite. Written by Greg Huffman and narrated by Allison Fowler. I don't know if this worries me or not, that I may never enjoy the present moment, but always the future. The idea and hopes of the future, a moment you can't possibly enjoy when it arrives. Let's use food as an example. I look forward to eating out. I'm intrigued not by the first bite, but the idea of the first bite. I'm intrigued by the next bite more than the one I currently possess within my mouth. When I fork up that final bite, I'm already lugubrious. The final bite is the most depressing because you know nothing is coming next. It's like that before it even reaches your tongue and teeth. Not tasting the flavors anymore, just chewing. And then the swallow comes, and the highlight of the day is in the rearview mirror. That's the problem with the present. Experiences are happening too fast to grasp onto and enjoy, slipping by at a rate impossible to get a grip on. More enthralled by the eve than the arrival. You know the best advice my uncle ever gave me? Put time on your side. And he's absolutely right. And yet, ultimately, time is going to slay all of us. So much for an ally. And finally, our final friend stabs us in the back. All of our hope is tied to an utterly hopeless send-off. No Meaning, No Transcendence. Written by Greg Huffman and recorded by Allison Fowler. What is meaning? What is transcendence? What matters? You are just biological forms formed from the boredom of the universe. Just time and inevitability has formed you and dropped you here. To do what? It didn't think it through that far. You can't transcend this. Looking at famous paintings or listening to poetry readings or watching Ingmar Bergman movies isn't going to make you more than human. You can't outthink your limitations. You can't control nature. You are nature. You are performing your programmed function no matter what you do. There's no escaping being a biological creature programmed with biological needs, no matter what malfunction or mutation happens in your genetic code. You're stuck here with the rest of us for no discernible reason. For what reason does nature need reason? You can take drugs, you can study philosophy, you can meditate. Maybe you'll see your strings, but you can't ever cut them. Does anything matter? Whether it matters or not doesn't matter. Entertainment isn't a distraction from meaning. Looking for meaning is a distraction from everything else, from seeing things for what they really mean, which is no meaning at all. I don't know what happens after you die, but in this world, there's more people studying witchcraft than shooting fireballs from their fingertips. There's more people telling you what God once did ages ago, and less immediate witnessing of divine lightning descending from the heavens. There may be satanic rituals and sacrifices, but no one has ever seen a manifestation of Satan. There's plenty of ceremonies, fascinating spectacles, resulting in nothing of importance. Any average bear will brutalize the biggest boxer, and a cheap machine will outcalculate a mouth whiz. No mortal man ever became a god, no matter what he engaged his time and study in. Focus on studies and control makes you more robotic. Delving into drugs and madness makes you more beastly. Neither of the extremes are godlike. I don't know what effing meaning people are looking for. And what's the point in being a nihilist? To find meaning in meaninglessness? Do what amuses you for the short term or play the long game. God doesn't care. Death doesn't care. Most other people don't care what you do with your life. The richest man, the smartest man, and the strongest man may all be gathered, having a conversation together, and if a drunk moron swerves his car into them, all of them explode into crimson jelly, and the universe doesn't even consider a shrug. They didn't transcend their meaty, flimsy organic matter. All that mattered was whether they enjoyed their time here or not. And really, that only matters if you think it does. Atrabilia, written by Greg Huffman and narrated by Allison Fowler. It'll be okay, that's what they say, but I don't think it'll be okay. I think the one thing you can be sure of is that we're going to be effing dead. That's the one thing you can be sure of. Everything else is probabilities. You will probably have a good day again. Probably. How does it feel? Like having your brain pushing up against porcupine needles. It feels like being trapped in poison with all the exit doors sealed shut. Problems with no solutions. You scour your mind for some way to relieve yourself. We learned in school that all problems have solutions. There are temporary alleviations, drugs, sex, release of endorphins. It feels like you can literally outrun the melancholia for a moment. Some days it's so bad that it keeps up pace and tears the rivulet as the wind beats your face. Ultimately, it has more endurance than you do, and the moment you slow down, it's there again, waiting. Sex is an intense and sometimes satisfying escape. Not that I like to view it as an escape, that's depressing, but it's dispiriting to be rejected over and over again in the quest for it, and it's getting harder to obtain every year. The rags of my anatomy decay further. And there are days when the thought of sex just fills me with rage. This beautiful, perfect, intimate act, stirring a turmoil in my blood, and I don't know why, not exactly. Only that perhaps one day this beauty won't exist for me, but only happy, smiling a-holes. And there's loneliness and alienation and lack of love. I'm told I'm loved, I'm reminded of it, but I don't know how to feel it most days. And all I know of love I learned from fickle, borderline personalities. And I've been abandoned by those with a fear of abandonment, and I've been burned with candles of love, burning so intensely that it burned out before I even felt its warmth. And then the depression transmutes itself into a rage, and the question is no longer whether to be or not, but whether I should aim my violence inward or outward. Suicide as an idea has its charms until you realize it's just not worth it, as all of those who care about you will be over it in a week, and they'll go back to work. Everyone's replaceable. You, most assuredly, will be replaced. You fulfill a role in their life, and then when you lose the position, someone else takes over. We are divinely necessary only to ourselves.